You're the most beautiful gun I've ever seen. You single? Welcome my fellow Quest heads and VR nerds. This is Eyes on VR, where I take a look at any VR game I can get my grubby little hands on, but always with a priority on VR shooters. I also take a look at gun stocks and real life accessories as well. What is your most played VR shooter? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, following the machinima from last week, which you can check out right now, we're going to be taking an in-depth look at AIM XR, the small game with the potential to creep up on the big boys and rip away that spotlight from them. Now, timestamps will be down below, so go check those out if you're looking for something specific. With that, can't contain it any longer. Cue the gameplay montage. Boop. Double pistols, woo! Get down. A Max Payne over here. What happens if I... Did that work? It did work! Oh my god, that's amazing. John Woo needs to give me a job. High five. Blam!
I'm down.
Oh, you certainly are down. Master of the recoil, baby! Hup, hup. It works with everything! Someone come around the corner, please. Yes, bang! I'm making it rain today! Oh, shotgun. Whoa, me, that's accurate. Boom, get down. Now, just before we get started, I just want to say, if you like what you see here, don't forget to drop a like on the video. It really helps out the channel. And don't forget to subscribe down below, because I got a lot more in-depth reviews, real life accessory stuff coming to the channel. Anyway, I'll stop taking up all your time. That's it, I swear. Let's get into it. So just to start off, this game is only available on the Quest right now, but if you use PCVR, don't go anywhere, because this game is a real taste of how the Quest 2 could possibly creep up on what PCVR has to offer visually, because oh my goodness, this game. By the end of this review, you might just feel the way I do that AIM XR is the shooter to watch right now on the Oculus Quest platform. And it's free! AIM XR is available on Sidequest, so just plug in your Quest, get it downloaded. And speaking of Sidequest, subscribers and non-subscribers have been asking me to put up a video on how to set up Sidequest with your Oculus Quest, how to use it and download games onto your Quest headset. So good news, I will be making that video after this review is finished. So when you find AIM XR on Sidequest, you'll see that it's still in its alpha stage, not even in beta yet. Although I have been talking to the one-man army that made this game, and the next version of the game is being tested as we speak, getting ready for the Sidequest release. Now this alpha build, regardless, still looks better and has better mechanics than fully released games or games in their beta stages on the Oculus Quest, so don't click away just yet, because there's a lot to see here. When you open AIM XR for the first time, you'll be taken straight into the tutorial. The tutorial will cover everything you need to know to get going with this game. Just like Onward and Contractors, you'll cover all the basics: movement, looking, mag ejection, reloading, firing, all the normal stuff, but you'll get a feel for this game, which is always helpful. Now, the other thing you're most likely to notice first is that AIM XR has full IK tracking, which stands for inverse kinematic, which basically means that you have an entire body that is animated. It basically has a skeleton inside of it and moves as such. You have all the joints that you would have if you had a real life body. So you're not just a pair of floating hands. Now, there is a handy mirror in the main menu to show that off, and you cannot blame the creator of this game, as you do not see this on the Quest basically at all. Plus, it's a lot of fun. Now, as I cannot contain myself any longer, it's time to look at my favourite thing here at Eyes on VR, and that, my friends, of course, is
Guns. Lots of guns.
Just like I said in my Contractors review, look at the detail on these guns! These guns are absolutely beautiful. I mean, look at the HD high-res textures on these weapons. This is easily on par with Contractors. And if you check out my in-depth look at Contractors, you can check that out here, you'll see what I mean. But if we're talking comparisons, these guns look better than Onward's guns, they look better than Pavlov's guns, and the way they fire, ooh, it is beautiful. They somehow, in a way that I do not understand, are also so intuitive. If you look at this footage, this is the first time I picked up this gun, and I'm 99% of the time on target here. And I do love a SIG, but this just feels great. And it's not just the guns that I like to try and use in all the shooters I've played that have this intuitiveness. I'm not a big fan of the FAMAS. The iron sights on the FAMAS are absolutely diabolical, if you ask me. But look, I am absolutely killing it on the shooting range here without having used it before. Every gun feels different, it's got weight behind them, and let's be honest, it's sexy as hell. I would go so far as to say right now they do feel even better than Contractors. And there goes my subscriber base. Contractors really set the standard for guns on the Quest. If you don't believe me, like I've said, AIM XR is free. Go and try it for yourself. I'd love to hear what you guys think about that in the comments section of the video. Also, these guns sound great too. They sound different, and it just adds to that power you feel from firing them. I'm just so impressed by these guns, especially as this game has been made by one man. And while we are talking about guns, it's that time again, folks. It's time for the realism review. This is where we do a quick fire round to see how real these guns behave. We ask a few questions like, can the bullets be seen in the magazine? Can the bullets be seen in the chamber? If you have an empty magazine, can you still fire your gun? If you have an empty magazine but still have one in the chamber, can you still fire that one shot? And do the weapons react with the world, or do they just clip through absolutely everything? But I know you're all dying to know, what kind of gun selection does this game have? Well, it's not as extensive as other VR shooters, but it's got a good variety of your standard weapons. You've got your standard pistols, your Glocks, your P320s, your M9s, your Desert Eagles. The Desert Eagle is amazing, by the way. It's got Uzis, you've got your assault rifles, your AKs, your M4s, a FAMAS, you've also got AUGs, you've got pump-action shotguns, and sniper rifles with fully working long-range scopes. It's also got some accessories. You've got frag grenades, you've got flashbangs, and you've got Molotovs as well. So you won't be short on choice here. Now, a special mention goes to the fact that you can dual wield your weapons. So my friends, channel your inner John Woo, because you're gonna have a good time. Now, something I've just learned whilst capturing footage for this review as I'm editing it together is that while you are dual wielding pistols, I know what you're thinking. Oh, it's a complete pain realistically because you have to put a gun down, then reload one, then pick up the other, then reload the other. No, AIM XR lets you reload magazines into your pistols off of the magazines sat on your chest. Therefore, double pistols is a real viable way of playing this game. That is a completely unique feature to this game, and I could not be happier to see it. Also, look at these bullets. They are beautiful, and they look so much more real than other shooters on the Quest. They even change caliber depending on your weapon, and they sure do look better than Pavlov's and Onward's, which more look like toy bullet. And well, the less said about Contractors' bullet visibility, the better. But there is one thing. No matter what gun you have, you only have to press a button on your controller to eject your magazine, even if it is an AK that doesn't have a mag release like that in real life. But something I will tell you that does get the heart racing is the sweet, sweet charging or cocking of the guns in the game. One of my gripes about Onward in my extensive review of it was that the hand does not connect to the charging handle or cocking handle, whichever is your preferred phrasing. But in AIM XR, just like in Contractors, the hand does connect to the handles, and that is a big plus in immersion for me. It just makes that reload feel better and like you really are pulling the charging handle when you're reloading. Also, as I mentioned before, the sniper rifles come with fully working long-range scopes, and the scopes work here fantastically. To me, they feel better than Pavlov's, and they are so crystal clear as well. Also, for those of you wanting to record gameplay, they are at such an angle in the way that they sit that you can see through the scopes while you are recording footage on the Quest, which is not something you can do in basically any other VR shooter on the Quest. The OG also comes with a nice scope on top of it too, which works exactly the same and is absolutely crystal clear. Really love the scopes in this. I think other games should take a lesson from it. So now I'm done gushing over these guns, let's talk about what this game has to offer with these guns. So as I said before, it's in the alpha stage right now, which I'm afraid means there's no PvP. It's just you versus bots at the moment. But I have spoken to the creator and developer of the game, and the next version, which may still be called alpha or called beta, he hasn't decided yet, will support public multiplayer PvP. And it's being tested as we speak, and is basically there. They just need to iron out some stuff with the voice chat, and then it's good to go. So I'd stick around for the rest of the review, because everything I say is going to be completely applicable to the next version of AIM XR, except for I'm going to talk bots and not PvP. Now, speaking of bots, let's talk about them and their settings, because their AI, pathfinding and reactions, they're pretty spot on. These guys pose a real threat when you are playing against them. They don't just stand back and shoot at you from a distance. But I'll tell you now, if you see a bot with a shotgun, he will just move up on you and blast you right in the face. They're good opponents, and I've certainly seen worse. They're also good teammates. They do mostly their own thing, but they use cover well, and they don't just charge at each other randomly like cannon fodder. Now, you can have 9 bots in a match. That, including you, makes 5v5, 10 in a match total. You can choose your preferred number of bots and difficulty level in the main menu before starting a game, along with the length of the game, which has a maximum of an hour, or by pressing the menu button on your left Quest controller once you're in a match. You can change all those settings on the fly. How you distribute these 9 bots is completely up to you. You could do 5v5, 4v6, etc, etc. As the game says itself, whenever you load into a match, it gives you little tips and trick screens. It says, why not try 9 bots versus you for a challenge? And believe me, that definitely is a challenge. Now, they've got varying levels of difficulty as well. They go from normal all the way up to expert, and they are named bots as well. Some of my favorite bots include bot Joe Swanson, bot Gustavo, and bot Mr. Text-to-Speech. But a word of warning, if you go up to expert difficulty, good luck to you, because that's a wild ride. Now, just before I get into maps and game modes, I want to talk loadout. Basically, there are no loadouts, so to speak. When you spawn into a match, you have a random primary and you have a random sidearm. You can switch your weapons by pressing X on a left controller, and it'll bring up a weapon wheel. From there, you can select any weapon available to your team. It works very much like Counter-Strike in that if you're the SWAT guys, you can't have AKs. And then if you're the, I don't want to say terrorists, but you know what I mean. They can't have M4s and like M9 pistols. So there are team-specific weapons here. But unlike Counter-Strike right now, weapons don't cost money. So when you spawn into a match with all your random weapons, all you do is open up the menu, pick your preferred set of weapons, and then you'll respawn with those same weapons from that point onward. Well, now we know what weapons we have and who else is in the games, but where do we play? So the game has 1 game mode so far, and that's Team Deathmatch. Overall, it's got 4 maps, and one of them being the shooting range. There's plenty to do on this range, to be fair. You get access to every weapon in the game, and there's plenty of static and moving targets to shoot. But also, you can select bots to shoot at on the range as well, which I think is a really nice touch. There's a few things you can do here. You can do just free play if you want, and that means you can just do as you please, work on your aim, your reloading, whatever you like. Or you can do a scored mode, and this is more of a shooting competition mode where you'll be scored on where you hit your target. So if a bullseye, you get say 10 points. On the outer ring of the target, you get 2 points, and you'll also have a timer going as well, so speed counts for something. But when you're done, you will also be up on a global leaderboard, and that just adds to that competitive aspect of this scored shooting, which is a nice touch because that's that multiplayer that's coming in the future sort of bleeding through a little bit. Now, the shooting range holds one little thing that also sets it apart from the big boys. It's got a gun angle calibration. I'm not just talking gun stock calibration, I mean it can calibrate without as well. It's a real highlight to the thought that's gone into this game, because we all know Contractors holds the torch for gun stock calibration. Of course it does. But this needs to be handed its own torch for its calibration. It's so simple and effective. Simply hold your gun out in front of you, press X and the arm holding it will freeze in place. Then you'll see your controllers, you just line them up with the gun exactly how you like it. Maybe some trial and error is needed here to find out what's good for you, but then once you've lined it up, press Y and that's it, it will set it. This totally changes the feel of the game to a more personal aspect. You aren't just limited to having the angle that you're given, and it's a massive plus in my books, because if you have a rifle or pistol stock, you can line it up exactly to your liking, but if you don't have one, you can still do the same. If I had a point system for rating games, this would send AimXR's score off the charts. So let's get into the actual maps now. They're basically arenas. They aren't the most ambitious maps, and right now in the alpha stage, they don't really need to be. Better, more intricate maps will be coming in the future once a public multiplayer has been released. So let's start with AIM. AIM is my absolute favorite. I love the aesthetic of this arena itself. It's got 2 levels and a huge open area in the middle. You can funnel enemies on the top level or end up in an all-out firefight on the ground level open area. There's plenty of cover, and it's also big enough for you to snipe if you want to. It's all round a good map, perfect for any play style, absolutely my favorite. There's also Container. If you want a map to fill you with anxiety, this is the map for you. You can get all the way up to the top level of this map, and that is like cloud level high, but you can also see everything. If you're on the ground, you need to be looking up, down, and all around, because people can come from anywhere at any level at any time. It's a really simple design, but it has so much depth to it as well. And next up, we've got Sand Bowl. This is probably the most simple map in the game, and in regards to the others, it's definitely the most close quarters. You know, it's flat, there's some walls, there's a bit of cover, that's kind of it. It's simple and to the point. I would say use a shotgun. Now, I can't spend all day just gushing over this game, and whilst I can't hold it to the same standard as a full release or even a far along beta, because that's just not fair, there are things that can be a little frustrating. You have to be spot on with your grabs with your hand when you are trying to get your weapons from your vest or belt or your grenades, because the hands can really be a bit finicky sometimes grabbing weapons and grenades. But I will admit there is compensation for this, as you seem to have magical telekinetic powers for picking up weapons, which does take out from the immersion, but I have to admit it is more helpful than hindering, so I can't really gripe at the game for that. Now, we know what we're playing with, where we're playing it, and who we're playing it with, but how can you make it feel better for yourself? Well, if you go into the settings, there are plenty of helpful settings here. There's a height changer, virtual gun stock settings, you've got all the locomotion settings you could ask for, including your snap turn settings. There's also a left-handed mode out there for all you southpaws. Also, there's a setting to turn on or off the game automatically inserting magazines that are already close to the mag well when you go to insert your magazine. With it off, you have to let go with the mag in the correct place for it to finish inserting itself. So if you want some more realistic reloading, I would say turn that off so you have to fully insert the magazine and let go yourself. Now, there's also something that I haven't seen before, which is a realistic gun mode toggle. Basically, all this does is change the control scheme to using triggers to grab magazines and pull slides back on your weapons. Personally, I prefer this. It's basically the Pavlov control scheme, and this was, and as I explained in my Onward review, I talk about how using the grip buttons for everything on your vest can cause issues. If you're looking ahead to make sure the coast is clear while you reach down to grab a magazine, you may come back with a grenade or a knife or a flashbang, and you're trying to insert that into your gun instead. So grabbing accessories and grabbing magazines as different buttons, I think works a lot better for a control scheme and makes things a lot easier on you. So absolutely commendable that you can swap and change that on the fly in the settings if you want to. There is also, thank goodness, a setting to turn off the dreaded tunnel vision that is activated by default anytime you move. Even if you take a step forward, bang, tunnel vision. Step sideways, bang, tunnel vision. I'm definitely not a fan of that. Turn this off. Do it immediately. And that's it for AIM XR. Could improvements be made to the game? Of course they could. The inventory system could be a bit better. You could have loadouts before you first spawn into a game. The hands need a little bit of work when it comes to animations. But again, like I say, this is in alpha. You cannot compare it or hold it to the same standard as a beta or a full release. At the end of the day, it functions, and it functions well. This is already a higher quality than some beta or full releases I have seen on the Quest. So I would say just go pick it up. It's free, get a feel for it and see what you think. Because a public multiplayer PvP build is coming, and trust me, it is not very far away. So if you're not going to get this right now, even just to have a play around and get a feel for it, mark it on your Sidequest account so you get notified when the PvP update arrives, because believe me, you do not want to miss this. Now, I am in talks with the one-man army that made AIM XR, and I will be getting a good look and a full review of the PvP up on the release date of that build of the game. So if you're interested in AIM XR and you want to see how it progresses once the PvP comes out and what's in store for you, subscribe to the channel down below, because believe me, you're not going to want to miss it. That's it for AIM XR. There's not much more else to say that I haven't said in the review already. Just go check it out. It's free, it's at a higher quality than even paid shooters on the Quest right now. If you enjoyed the video, please drop me a like, it really helps out the channel. And don't forget to subscribe down below if you're interested in what the channel has to offer, and also if you're interested in what goes on with AIM XR in the future, because I will be covering it all build by build. Now, by the time my next video comes out, it would have already been Christmas, so I just wanted to say happy Questmas to you Quest owners, and happy Christmas to you PCVR owners. I hope you guys get a lot of vouchers for your stores, hope you guys get some accessories for your headsets, or just anything that you want, and a lot of VR good stuff. I will see you all next week. Have a great time. I will catch you later. See ya.